Hello, friends. Welcome to Symbaroum. This is a Swedish TTRPG system created by Järnringen. It is a sort of dark fantasy gothic setting and story, and we are playing this adventure run by our dungeon master, Obdurant. Also, Kevin. Please take it away.
Hello, and welcome to Symbaroum. Like Stella said, our party has just had an exciting venture out into Davokar, the main attraction of the Symbaroum platform. And most of them made it back alive, although not everyone did. And let's just have a really quick recap. Who's feeling eloquent right now?
I think our newest member should do it.
Our newest member?
Yes.
Alrighty. Karmeon, would you regale us with what happened last session?
Well, last session started at the beginning, or our last session began at the end of our tragic session before that, wherein we basically party wiped, except almost not. But then we didn't. It was really confusing and scary. And multiple people, 4 of us went down, and there were only 3 of us, basically, is how close we were to dying. And in the end, only one of our characters was standing, and of the 2 that were on the floor, only one was left living. Which left me, as a player, in something of an awkward spot. And you'll see how I fix that very shortly. Because we cut to a very, very, very terribly, almost mortally wounded Pekome Bori sitting on the ground, bleeding from 9/10 of the holes in her body, and a very soulfully wounded Meira crying over her dead brother. And they kind of sat in the dark and shot glares at each other sometimes, and kind of, eventually begrudgingly decided that neither of them hated the other enough that they wanted to die down there. So they might as well start working together in getting out of there. And then a very stylishly dressed man popped out of the darkness and explained absolutely nothing about his appearance that Pekome could understand. But they begrudgingly decided they would work together and go up and get out. And they did, one by one. And one by one, as they left the dark pit in the ground, they were each silently kidnapped and held with a knife to their throat until all of them were up there with a knife held to their throat. And then we discovered that as a group, we'd failed roughly 20 vigilant tests to determine that we'd been followed since the second session. And we found out that Pekome was being followed because they wanted to blackmail her into compliance with an unknown scheme. At which point, Pekome tried to party wipe again by threatening them. But they accepted that that threat was empty and meaningless and magnanimously let us all live, with the understanding that they thought we would probably end up in such a horrible situation with such regularity that we'd never really be able to stop them, even with foresight, planning, and awareness of them and their plans. And they even gave us a couple healing supplies to get us back on our feet so that they wouldn't die and all their planning went to waste. And we went back down into the horrible dungeon, and somehow managed to find our other objective, which was dead, sadly, and get out without anyone else dying.
All right, yeah, that's a fantastic description. There was a little bit right at the end where you guys traveled back to Thistlehold
Yes.
without dying.
Yeah,
But, that's an A-okay summary. And
we did forget 2 important factors, though.
mm-hmm.
We now, or one of us now, is in possession of a super gnarly bone necklace that they should totally wear.
That's not an important factor. That like we could just pass
No,
that under the bridge.
I do think that's a pretty important factor, yeah. So there were two likely valuable relics. I mean, you were exploring a pretty intricate set of chambers beneath the earth that it appears no one has really been down to, at least, without dying very quickly soon after. And you were able to collect a couple things. So Pekome now has this sort of lizard skeleton necklace of unknown origin and unknown utility that she has. And it would be quite, in character for her to just put that bad boy right on. And Karmeon was given a bit of a puzzle box that he worked on.
Yeah,
Really
and
somewhat
there's
obsessively.
files of some. Yeah.
Yeah, and he discovered 3 what looked to be sort of sophisticated eyedroppers with a clear liquid in each of them.
And he tried them out immediately.
He did not. Such thing. So when we rejoin the party, and I'll go ahead and move the map over to Thistlehold, you
Excuse me.
are...
The other important part.
Oh, right.
I have a giant golden key.
You have a giant golden key.
Right. 3
You'll never figure
artifacts
out what
of
it does.
unknown provenance, and we collectively only know about 2 of them.
I'll ignore the fact the DM forgot about it, so it's probably not that important.
No,
but it's
the
so
DM didn't-
badass.
You're going
it's
right back to
just
that
not with
goddamn
the
dungeon.
it's just not right with the notes for the other 2 because it isn't the same type of item without revealing too much.
That, and he didn't see you grab it. You hid it from everyone.
Yeah, it was
Ah,
a really
that's
good
true.
stealth check.
Yes, I am so discreet. All right, enough interruptions from me.
Okay. So you, the party, stand just outside the northern gate of Thistlehold. And I mean, we'll say for the sake of convenience, you're a little further than just outside. And you're at the end of a successful journey. As adventurers, you probably have all done just enough research to know that typically when someone comes back from a treasure hunt, it is their obligation as licensed treasure hunters under the Queen that they ought to travel to the Queen's legation and report their findings. And after reporting their findings, they can go about selling them and, trying to make some money and a name for themselves. Now, that's not what everyone does, because it can be a little risky. As soon as you declare what you have at the Queen's legation, chances are there are other people who find it somewhat easier to just take riches from the people who went out and got them rather than go get them themselves, who bribed the members of the Queen's legation to find out more about what's brought back and what they should invest time in stealing, as it were. Some people handle that by just being discreet, trying to tell as few people as possible and get rid of their riches as quickly as possible. Some people try to hide their things inside the city, outside the city, and kind of parcel them off illicitly, and so on and so forth. But it's up to you how you handle your return.
At the gate, do we see any familiar guards?
Great question. So as you approach the
And by we, I mean the others, because I wouldn't recognize them.
You wouldn't recognize them, right? Because as far as you know, they aren't nobles, so they aren't actually intelligent beings. Bourgeoisie scum. Well, as you get near, you do notice there is, unsurprisingly, a detachment of guards at the gate. However, none of them, to the best of your knowledge, resemble the group of 6 that encountered you out in the forest. And they don't appear to be paying the 3 of you any more attention than a rather bedraggled group at that, with a body slung over a horse approaching the gate, might draw. You do still have Dane's corpse, is that right? I don't think he did
We
anything.
have it on the horse.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
At this point, we're just gonna have a reputation for bringing back bodies into Thistlehold.
It does seem that way.
At least we brought all of
The
one
whole
body.
the whole thing this time, yeah.
At least there's not just a bloody sack.
As we are tiredly making our way into Thistlehold, Meira will look to Pekome. Pekome, I must see to my brothers. arrangements.
And Karmeon will cut in and be like, I should probably go and find, pass on her things and my regrets to all of my companions, families.
When she looks at Karmeon first, and she's gonna tell him that when you're finished with that, come meet up at our base, and then we'll head over to the Ordo Magica and get all this resolved. And
You've
then
got a base?
she's gonna tell him, not in like a quiet voice, the address.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I know that street.
then she's gonna look over to Mayura and say, would you prefer to take care of this alone?
It is up to you. However, hold on. She checks her pockets. So it cost Dane a thaler, to get rid of a head.
Wait, are you just gonna ditch him?
No, wait. Okay, never mind. Forget that. Backpedal.
We thought you were gonna do like a bonfire or something for him, like.
Huh. Yeah. Okay.
It is, yeah, it's worth knowing that Dane didn't handle things necessarily traditionally as far as respect for the dead goes. He was just trying to get rid of a body part.
Gotcha. Okay, yes. So Maida is well aware of the traditional rites of her village and would know that the proper way would be to do a bonfire. Or a pyre, I mean.
Yeah.
And how would she go about this? Is this
Probably
like a
go
thing?
to like the edge of the clearing,
I feel like something like that, you'd probably have to talk to somebody and get permission. I don't think you're allowed to just burn bodies.
Yeah, so it is something of a delicate situation. If you had perhaps done the funerary rites out in Davokar, it obviously would have been a lot easier. Now that you're back in the realm of civilization, fire is something of a hazard, and even as you approached and entered Thistlehold once more, you notice, there is quite a bit of a fire break between the walls of town and the forest, and for good reason, because historically over the years, there's been more than one occasion when elves have tried to burn the whole thing down.
At least 9 feet.
At least 9 feet, yeah.
Hmm.
And to that end, you would probably have to speak to someone. The gate guards would not be super inclined to let some unnamed body just come into the town, so if you were to engage with them, they'd probably help you make arrangements to make a small pyre somewhere in the fire break where it's not much risk of it spreading.
Yeah, so that's what Maida will do. She'll try to get the attention of the guard, and she will tell Pekome, you may do as you please. It would not offend me either way.
Pekome is going to reach into her satchel and give Mayura 2 thaler and say, if the guards need a little bit more inspiration to help us out.
Maida takes them very quickly.
And then she says, I'm gonna go into town and get everything sorted out, and I'll meet you back out here by the gate if you aren't done by then.
Understood.
One of the guards has noticed Mayra's signaling, and as you wrap up that conversation, she steps away from the gatehouse to approach the group. She has a spear, and she's wearing a tabard with the insignia of knight home, lots of 4 pitchforks. Sorry. establishment and all that, who's, essentially the proprietor of all Thistlehold. But she leans very casually on her spear as she approaches, kind of up nods Mayra, and glances the group over, and especially the body of Dane, where it's draped over the horse. She'll go like, "Hello, loves. So what's this you got then?"
This is my brother. He has fallen in battle. I must see to his arrangements.
She nods at that. She doesn't seem too surprised at the sight of, a less than whole group returning from the forest. But she does toss in a mostly insincere, I'm sorry to hear that. And exactly what form might those arrangements be taking?
And then she'll explain it with the pyre and all that.
She frowns a little as she's listening and glances back at town and then at the woods. And she nods and she goes, "Well, we have a little more room when it comes to burials, but as long as you don't go too crazy with the size of it, I think you can probably..." And she'll nod sort of east of the path that heads into Davokar, towards a region of stretched ground, and just say, if you head about maybe 50 yards that way, we won't bother you if you set up to take care of things there.
She will nod and then leave.
Okie dokes. Now, it is worth noting that it's probably mid-afternoon at this point, and if Mira's working alone, it's going to take quite a while to get, a pyre ready.
I imagine wherever she's going to go to acquire the materials that she needs, she'll probably hire some help.
Just hire people with the thalers? Okay, great.
Yeah.
That Peiko gave her?
Yeah, so I'll just say she expends both.
Yep. So it doesn't take a lot of work if you're, throwing 2 thaler around, to get a pretty eager crew of people to step beyond the gates of Thistlehold, and they'll rapidly gather enough dried wood to assemble a pretty respectable pyre. And they don't really handle anything to do with Dane unless asked, but they do kind of follow her direction and arrange as close as she might be able to get to a very traditional Odiovan funeral pyre.
And for the whole thing, she'll give like whatever is closest to their traditional sort of ceremony. She'll share some kind words, a memory or two of their childhood growing up. And I think overall it's just kind of somber, and probably she does this alone. I don't imagine there's going to be an audience or anything. I imagine they'll leave.
I was going to say, is she keeping the people that she's keeping there?
She might have to pay them more to get them to stand around as audience.
No. So like after she's had her say and she's sure that it's done in a respectful way, she'll just kind of wait, I suppose. That's all she's gonna do.
Okay. And Peikome, you've had time to kind of get your things settled and make your way back, as you said you would. So, what does she do when she arrives and kind of sees this setup? The workmen have since slunk off. Half of them were goblins, so they are real good at slinking. But they've all headed off, and there's just Mayra, and it looks like she's more or less finished the formal process of mourning Dane.
Peikome will just quietly walk up to her side and just gently put a hand on her shoulder.
I think Karmeon would have gone inside to handle his own process of dealing with the dead.
Mayra wouldn't shove Peikome away. She's mostly thoughtful and quiet. But, whatever she's thinking, she's reserving to herself.
Okay. We'll leave the two of you there to kind of wrap that up and observe Dane's last moments. Well, his other last moments. And Karmeon. You know that Aldous and Aro didn't have any family to speak of in Thistlehold. An awful lot of people do come to town alone because they're going to be, ideally, at least before they get there, they think they're going to be heading off into Davokar often. And why bring people? Or they're just solitary types. It does take a particular mindset to be a treasure hunter, after all. But Milo, on the other hand, does have family. A wife with 2 children. And they live in a fairly small, cramped house off of Haliband's Ring that you've probably been to a couple times now and then, so you do know the way.
Yeah.
Is that where you had?
Yeah. Family first, and then meeting up with everyone else to kind of deliver news of the cuneiform tablets. And yeah, okay. Yeah, that is where he'll head first.
Yeah, sounds good. Excuse me. So you get there and you knock on the door, and within a few minutes, the door cracks open and there's this fairly young boy who stares up at you. And the door's only open for a small crack at first until he spots you, he recognizes you, and then he'll kind of push the door open and scamper off. And within a couple seconds, a woman with pretty short cropped blonde hair will step through, and she sees you, and she brightens pretty quickly. Say, "Oh, Karmeon, are you back? Have you made it?"
Karmeon will start by kind of shaking his head. Maybe you should sit down.
Manila is this woman's name, and you know that she's pretty sharp. So as soon as you say that, there's kind of this brief flicker on her face that she suppresses pretty quickly, but she doesn't say anything. She takes a few steps off to the side and gestures you deeper into the common room / kitchen / almost everything else in the house. And she'll slowly sit down and kind of turn the whole of her attention upon you expectantly.
Karmeon will just head right into it. I'll just say, you don't need to pay anything for it. A crew, they got me out, not anybody else. We're gonna go back. I'll talk to our employers. We'll go back. We'll get the bodies. We can bring them back. We can bring him back. I'm sorry.
Her face sets, and it takes a couple seconds for her to say anything after that. She reaches up to brush under an eye, although it doesn't really look like she's crying. And she'll kind of tensely, although not as far as you can tell from anger, just say, "Thank you. I'll see you afterward then." And it doesn't appear that she's super eager to converse beyond that.
I'm real sorry. Then he'll flee.
He'll flee? Okay.
Yes,
Hopefully.
please.
Just bolt out of the door.
Karmeon shuts the door, I hope, in fleeing, and there's a choked sound from within, but then you're back out on the street. There's the bustle of everyday life in Thistlehold to sort of sink into.
Karmeon will head straight to street.
To which street is that? Oh, to the address near the Antique Plaza.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you head to the Antique Plaza, and you know there's a house on the northern end, kind of toward the eastern side, that Pekome hopefully gave you directions toward
This place.
the address. And do Pekome and Meira make their way there after they've wrapped up as well?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's beginning to get towards late evening, or not late evening, late afternoon. Sorry, early evening, and you're reunited.
So it's about time for second lunch.
It's past time for second lunch.
Oh no.
You missed it.
Dane would have not missed it.
Dane probably would not have missed it because he just would have been eating straight through the whole day. So you still have some valuables from Symbar burning a hole in your pockets, as it were. What do you do about them?
Well, once they've all met up, Pekome is gonna suggest that they start with meeting their mutual friend and the abomination, and then head over to the Orda Magica.
Ah, yes, I must go. See how Bone Crusher is doing.
It looks like his bones were crushed.
He is small, so he can be fearsome and agile.
All right. You folks head out to rendezvous. Well, not so much rendezvous as
Suppose
Crash
they
at
find
Revolt's
Karmeon on the
place.
street after, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So they step outside, meet Karmeon, say, "Hey, we're going to speak to Revold." Now you've probably heard of him, Karmeon, but Aldous didn't necessarily get the contract through him. She got it through negotiating with the Ordo Magica. So you're just along for the ride.
Yeah.
At this point.
Revold asked us to look into helping out Aldous, and then the Orda asked us to get the tablets.
Mm-hmm. So
she would tell Karmeon.
Okay. Yeah. Karmeon he's gonna be a bit subdued, but he'll nod and make sure he still has everything and come along.
as you reach Revolt's place, I assume you just go up and knock. This has happened a couple times at this point, right?
Unless Mayura does something weird.
Does Mayura do something weird?
No, Mayra will not do anything weird this time.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, so Revolt enters the door. He looks a little drunk, and he'll glance from person to person, brighten quite a bit, and go, "Oh, you're back! Come in, come in." And he'll kind of spot Karmeon, and then stick his head out of the door and look a little further in either direction, and go like, "Oh, well, where's that big brother of yours?"
He is no longer among the living.
His kind of cheerful demeanor just becomes a little more glum, although it doesn't fit all the way. He goes, sorry to hear that, but truth be told, a lot of people don't come back at all after they set foot in the forest, and if the two of you did, and kind of looks at Karmeon again, and whoever this is, it's not a bad what am I saying? Just why don't you come in? And as he opens the door wider, this ball of ugly mangy fur just streaks forward and jumps up to collide with Mayra's body. And it's Bone Crusher.
Mayra goes to her knees and she cuddles the living shit out of this little puppy.
How does Karmeon react to seeing an abomination of a dog?
I assume they probably discussed Bone Crusher more than once.
In vague terms of Pekome saying
she's
it's
just
horrible.
gonna. That's an ugly dog.
I'm still not sure it's even a dog.
Who named it?
He is perfect.
Who do you think named it?
Pet, 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 pet. Ear scritch. Belly rub, belly rub.
It doesn't look like a bone crusher, but I'm sure it's well behaved.
Pekome is going to sigh and gesture to Karmeon while looking at Revolt and say, he was He was part of Aldous' crew. He was the only one we could get out.
Yeah,
Revold's eyebrows kind of bump up at that. He doesn't say anything quite yet, just looking to Karmeon.
you were the one that sent them after her?
In a manner of speaking, they were looking for work, and I heard that that the group of you didn't quite make it back as quickly as the Ordo was hoping.
Yeah. Took longer than it should to get there and longer than it should to get back. But at least some of us made it back.
Well, why don't you all come in and take a seat? Tell me, I mean, Aldous, from everything I've heard, was pretty competent as far as treasure hunters go. What beset you out there?
Two things. He'll admit. Elves weren't the worst part, but they got RO. But what really got us, our own greed. We found something new.
New.
What kind of eye the man for a bit, and then he's deliberately not going to reveal all that he knows,
Mm-hmm.
and say just one of the older spots, something different.
A very thoughtful expression has entered Revolt's gaze, even if it's not entirely focused. We'll go, that's some pretty valuable information right there.
Cross-eyed thinking emoji.
See how that might tempt someone even as level-headed as Aldous was purported to be. Well, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. What did you say your name was?
Karmeon.
Karmeon. Oh, I don't think I've heard of you, but well, if you're working with this lot, I knew Lady Bori's father real well. I still do, though. Guess we don't talk all that much. I think you're in capable hands.
My father never really talked with people. It was more of a talk-at kind of person.
That is the way of many a noble, he says, quite diplomatically.
At which point she's gonna look over to Karmeon and say, we found a couple of objects, and before we went and told anyone else about it, I figured you might be able to give us a clue as what to do next.
We don't tell anyone about it. We go right back. Karmeon insists.
Well, I think as soon as you report that stuff from, if you found some valuables, well, people are gonna wonder where from, aren't they now? And that trip that you were taking sure wasn't supposed to.
We'll just report them the second time.
Kind of mulls that over and goes, I think that's certainly a wise decision insofar as discretion goes, although you might want to tread carefully even so. If this is a new find in old ground, you might just be careful. You never know what manner of creatures or mysteries you're gonna find in the deeper reaches of Davokar, and other people passing before you might slim the pickings, but it sure makes things safer if you take my meaning.
We will need many torches.
Another horse or two.
Well, you not exactly made of Thaler. I can't really loan anything more than I already have to you sorts. Do you have what you need to resupply?
Well, we should get something out of the Ordo once we return the tablets they wanted.
Oh, so you found those. Excellent. That's good. That's good.
And
Alright.
that should at least stop them sending people into the abyss for the tablets for a minute, or for a bit.
Yeah, it oughta. Do you have any idea what those tablets are about?
She'd look over at Karmeon.
Dabble sometimes, but no.
Well, that's a shame. Well, for all we know, it could just be instructions on how to knit. They wrote all kind of things down, and the Ordo Magica is not too discriminating on what kind of information they try to dredge up. As long as it's old, it's good to them.
Anyone got parchment and charcoal?
Pekome opens up her satchel filled with various papers and writing tools.
I have crayons.
You're very covered in this group.
Yeah. Karmeon will set to making some rubbings.
Yeah, alright. Nice. Yeah, Karmeon successfully manages to do that. He's got a deft hand and doesn't, break anything in the process. They aren't perfect rubbings. There are plenty of signs of age in the tablets, but you get a fairly faithful reconstruction of both tablets that you've recovered. What they mean is anyone's guess at this point. It's pretty ancient script that's well beyond a hobbyist levels of understanding. But you've successfully duplicated it.
Okay.
At which point she's gonna root through her pack and pull out the small bundle and show him the necklace she found. Have you any idea what this is?
She's just kind of holding on to it.
Yeah, with flipping it over on her hand.
Okay. Yeah, Rival almost looks a little concerned as she's just kind of, turning it over. But he leans in because it's clearly a very interesting find. Squints down at it for a while, and then he says, I couldn't tell you what that is, honestly. I'm a lot of things you find out there, well, they're fit to be one of a kind more often than not. Seems it isn't hurting you if you're just kind of fiddling with it like that, though.
I've got a bit of experience with things like this.
Hmm.
The sword screams a little.
Oh no. Well, that is pretty fine make. I think it's should probably listen to your companion Karmeon there and keep that under wraps until you're ready to be pumped for information about just where you happen to cross that.
She's gonna look over to Mayura. I wonder if they have the locks ready for us yet. They said it would take some time, but we've been gone for a bit.
We've been gone for days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something in the order of 4, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
If we're heading back out again, if we can get them to at least start, maybe the locks will be done by the time we get back, and that would help us keep things a bit more secret.
Yes. And safe.
Okay.
Maida will hold out a thaler to Rayvold. Would you mind watching Bone Crusher just a little longer?
Is this your dog or his?
Rivaldo very smoothly plucks the thaler from Mayra's hands. Maybe with a little bit of just, extra contact. She was so charming the last time they talked.
What does Mayra look like right now for him? Because she's been a different person every time.
This is true. I kept putting on a disguise every time
Yeah.
we walked in here.
Does she still is she disguised right now, or is she just
No,
kind
I
of
think
all masked up and
especially
stuff?
yeah. I mean, he has seen her in her normal form.
Mm-hmm.
But especially after the events of today, she wouldn't have been about that.
In a headspace, yeah.
Yeah, so she's just wearing her usual stuff. She's wearing her dark leather armor, and she's got her hood up and her mask on. She's got these piercing green eyes. You can't see it, but she has piranha teeth, and she has these like bone protrusions all over her face and body. But you can't see that.
Yeah, he can't see that, so it doesn't deter him right now. But he takes the coin, he takes the thaler, and he says, "Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that little bone crusher. Well, he's not really well trained, but he's a charming little titan, isn't he?"
He is?
He is perfect.
I worry
I like
about your
cats
eyesight.
better.
Say that again, Kory.
I like cats better.
You like cats better. Okay, that's Karmeon's
Yeah, that's
contribution
Karmeon's-
to the
yeah.
discussion. No one deigns to even look at Karmeon when he says that. Just god mudding for the entire party. It's beautiful.
Well, we might as well rest for the remainder of the night. And
If you don't mind my saying so, Rival kind of glances from person to person. He goes, "You, to be entirely frank, you folks look like you're more dead than alive. I think it might be fitting to, try to recover just a little before you start heading back out into the woods if you want to come back."
oh yeah, we're not playing D&D. We don't magically heal all of our hit points when we take a long
Now you
nap.
magically heal some of your hit points. As long as they
What are
can
you talking
attend to
about,
you.
Stella? You magically healed all of your hit points. I'm
Yeah,
the one
yeah.
who's been burned alive in acid.
Well,
Yeah.
in the process of healing all my hit points, I almost turned into an abomination.
Look, you just wanted to be closer to your dog.
Ah. I am bound to this creature.
Your dog is an
Uh,
artifact.
So where did we get how wounded is Peiko May?
7 out of 11.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty wounded. It's
yeah.
kind of a one step forward, two steps back thing when trying to
Yeah.
bring her health up.
Yeah,
The-
no. Karmeon will definitely at Rival's pointing out, kind of gesture to somewhere to sit, anywhere to sit,
blood.
really.
Her armor covered in dried blood.
Yeah. And then he'll, just I can try, see what I can do.
If it's all the same to you, as keen as I am on all of your company, I'd rather you not really
Oh,
delve deep
Oh.
into the medical arts right here.
We have our own house to bleed in.
That's what I like to hear.
yeah.
What of you, Karmeon? Have you a place to stay?
I mean, I would have stayed with my you know how. I don't know. Have you been doing this long?
Ruvald kind of coughs a little laugh behind.
We can talk on the way, but you know, you should stay with people for a bit after you come back.
You don't want to be alone. That's it.
Well, if I'm gonna get my throat slit, at least I'll have company.
That was extremely practical wisdom from Karmeon right now. So do the collection of you kind of head back to base, as it were?
We just stand right here beside Revolt and continue having this conversation in personal space for as long as possible.
Go right ahead. He's willing to entertain you.
No, Karmeon is happy to leave.
Okay. Now,
So-
Karmeon in particular, you have the vials,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you do have quite a bit of medical, and I mean, well, you know, more than entry level
Yeah.
medical and alchemical knowledge. So the fact that you don't know just what's in these is indicative of the fact that they're quite well made, because
Yeah.
you know, I mean, for the most part, he's familiar with sort of bushcraft, keeping people together type
Yeah.
stuff more than
Yeah.
any of the higher level arts.
Mm-hmm.
You do know that there is an alchemical shop here called the Thaler's Drugstore. I think I wrote this down
Mhm.
somewhere. Yeah, the Thaler's Drugstore. So the option is there to
Mhm.
potentially consult an expert and find out what's in those.
Uh-huh.
Although that does run the risk, of course, of kind
Yeah.
of informing more people about its presence.
Or you could just put it in your eyes.
Or you could
Yeah,
just put it in your
yeah,
eyes. Or maybe just
no.
one eye if you wanted to be conservative.
Yeah. I think Karmeon will kind of bring that up on the way back and say, you know, maybe I can pawn one off and pretend like that's all I have left.
You're the one who said we should wait until we return the second time.
Yeah, probably. You're right.
If they know we
Ah.
got anything, they'll probably think we got something else.
In my
Yeah.
experience, if something comes with other multiple parts, they are related somehow.
What?
The three vials, right?
Mhm.
All came
They're all-
together.
You can't split up the set. That's what she's saying.
Yes, don't split up the set. What
Yeah, I
if
know,
you
that
need
was-
one
that was
part?
in character.
Oh, okay. Well, she will repeat literally what she said.
Just to say it again twice.
What if you sell the cure and the others are poisons?
We could just be selling water.
I highly doubt that.
Bacon is gonna keep walking.
Yeah, Karmeon looks really thoughtful, and that's it. He just keeps going, but he
Okay.
looks thoughtful.
All right, you make it back without obstruction, so far as you can tell. You have a moment, Karmeon, if you'd like to kind of roll to make Pekome a little less dead.
Just in the
Yeah.
middle of the street.
I mean,
no, I'm assuming you've gone inside.
Yeah,
at this
yeah.
point.
I was on V's sheet, and I was like,
Yeah.
why do I have Woe Man at arms?
I was wondering why suddenly my character sheet changed.
And before we go, Maida would have left the Thaler with Rayvold, but she would have taken Bone Crusher, since it sounds like we're gonna be here for a while.
Yeah,
Mhm.
at
Nope.
least the night.
So
3 more health
Bone
points.
Crusher
Have at 'em, boss.
excitedly trumps along.
Oh, I carry Bone Crusher in
Oh,
my
okay, yeah.
arms.
Bone Crusher excitedly rides along with Meira. And the horse, which I'm going to assume that you guys stable, because this time it doesn't have a head to be left around. And you're right, you get back. Karmeon helps patch up the party a little bit. Well, I mean, only Peko.
Peko is the party.
At this point, it's pretty well into the evening. So if you have any other errands, unless you want to carry them out at night, you'll probably be looking at a night of rest and then tackling them tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay.
Do we have locks on our doors? Yet?
Yeah. So that it looks like those deals were taken along pretty seriously after you paid for them.
Mhm.
So you do have some fortified locks, which does mean that someone is going to have gone and actually collected, keys so that you have access. But we can just kind of assume you've done that. So you have a fairly fortified little residence at this point,
Nice.
which might help you to sleep a little more easily.
Pekome gives Mayra a spare key, and not Karmeon.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Great.
If I remember correctly, our house only has 2 bedrooms.
It does, yes. Mayra and Dane were sharing
Mhm.
a bedroom previously.
So
And
So-
Pekome took the one without the window.
Mm-hmm.
Meira will squint over at Karmeon. Do you snore?
Karmeon's gonna kind of stare at her. Yes, he snores, and he says yes, just like that.
He's proud of it. Snoring is a sign of good eating.
Is it loud?
Extremely.
All right.
So has Karmeon been banished to the living room, or is he gonna be
Yes.
shaking the walls? Okay.
I mean, he's certainly not been invited out of the living room.
Yeah.
He gets to sleep on the carpet.
Oh, you have a carpet. Wow.
just like a center rug in the middle of the.
Oh, see, I didn't actually follow Symbaroum rolling rules. One's
true.
perfect. Oh well.
Well, I mean, if you
Do
were
it.
considering loudness as a fail,
I appreciate that you guys have had an entire journey back from the forest, but you're finding this out now. So you have a night's rest. You can go ahead and recover a stat point as per usual, and it's a new day. Fortunately, nothing appears to have happened overnight. And
Will Pekome increase her resolute?
yes.
Okay.
We almost back to normal, boys.
Boop.
yeah, you're swimming in stat points now compared to
Yeah.
other moments in your life.
A whole 76.
Yeah, I'm no longer at a 17-point deficit.
Very nice.
Meira wakes up early. She peeks out into the living room to make sure Karmeon has not stolen everything.
He's not
He
stolen
stole.
anything. He's just very unconscious and snoring very loudly.
Does Karmeon get a stat point for sleeping on the floor?
He
The man
does.
didn't
He
lose
does.
any stat points. He doesn't need no stat points.
Pekome spent a good portion of the night cleaning up her armor.
Okay. Yeah, so there's not much that she can do about the punctures and the gashes that have found their way into her armor, especially her shield, because she has successfully caught so many blows on it. It's looking a little beat up.
Especially the acid.
Yeah. But fortunately, it doesn't look like someone died on it anymore. You can see some of the original coloration, and all the dried blood has been scraped away. The joints have been oiled. The armor is serviceable and just kind of battle scarred a little bit. It's a badge of honor, you might say, or a sign of poverty.
Meira likewise would have tended to her equipment. Possibly Bone Crusher pulling on thread as she is trying to fix little knife marks from goblins that got too close.
Mm-hmm.
And also the spear that went across her chest.
We don't talk about that one.
The one that actually almost killed you.
We don't talk about that one.
Yeah, that was quite the thing. So you take a little time, for gear maintenance here and there, assisted and hindered by the Pats. Do you head over to the Ordo Magica in the morning, or do you do something else? Okay.
Paycome's gonna head there first.
Great. And I'm assuming you go kind of as a group.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Maida will leave Bone Crusher at home.
That is judicious of you. So as you return to the Ordo Magica and pass your way back up to the steps which lead to the doorway that leads to the clerk who guards the record chambers, you find the same person who is disinterestedly performing their job while reading something that had more of their attention. He looks up to spot you, and he clearly recognizes Paycome because he straightens up, stiffens, and half raises from his chair before saying, "I've been warned about you. Don't you go one step further, or I'm calling the guards."
We completed the task we were given to
What
retrieve
did you do?
the tablets. Paycome's just gonna ignore Karmeon.
The attendant kind of glances at Karmeon at the question, then looks back to the armored figure of Paycome. He narrows his eyes a little. He says, "Just stay there and don't move, and we'll see about that." And he'll step back out from around the desk and push into a back room and step out of view. He'll be gone for a couple minutes. Do you just hang out? Do you do anything else?
She's gonna look over to Karmeon. You do have the tablets with you, right?
I thought you had them.
I have them. She pulls them out of her pockets.
No, I think Karmeon still has them. He was just,
Somebody has them.
Okay. Good.
God.
She is not amused. If you don't have them, I'm going to make you run all the way back to get them, and then run back here alone.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. I do have them. So the Ader turns in the company of two guards. And they kind of size up the group of you as they get near. The Ader turns to his seat, and he seems content to let them deal with the situation. One of them steps up, glances Paycome up and down. She's the most formidable of the group, given that she has two swords, a shield, and she walks around in armor all the time. And they say, "Listen now."
Battle-worn armor.
Battle-worn armor at this point. And the lead guard says, "Listen now. We'll take you up to see Master Furia. But if you cause any trouble whatsoever, that's going to be the end of it for you. We square?"
I will do my best not to offend him.
There's a mirthful little chuckle from the guard. He says, "Well, best of luck on that front, friend." And he'll gesture you along after him. And the other guard kind of waits at the back of the group and will follow. And you get the clear impression that they're shepherding you along. Before too long, you're taken up to an audience room this time rather than Master Furia's personal chambers, where he appears to be working on some sort of project. There's a decent number of what look like they could be artifacts or relics or all manner of different things spread across a table. And he's quite obsessively writing in a notebook before the door swings open and after the door swings open and as you guys step in, until finally your presence is obvious enough that he has to look up. He acknowledges you and he goes, "Oh, it's you." He straightens up. He goes, "Well, did you and then he spots Karmeon. Yeah. Names are really getting away from me this session. Spots Karmeon and says, "You went out with Aldous, didn't you? What are you doing here? What is he doing here?" he asks Pekome.
We recovered Karmeon
Else.
and the tablets.
Well, Karmeon's gonna kind of cut in and be like, not the tablets. I think those were lost with Aldous, but we're very prepared, you see. And Karmeon will produce not the tablets,
Ooh.
but some rubbings.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Big brain strats. Oh.
Okay. Conan Furia looks at the rubbings, and it's clear that he's displeased. But he steps forward and he plucks them from Karmeon's hands, unless Karmeon hangs on. Does he?
No, Karmeon will pass them over.
Surrender them? Okay. So
Yeah.
we'll take them, and I'll stalk back over to the table and put it down and stretch it out so that he can start reading over the markings on the parchment. And after a moment, he appears at the least somewhat appeased by the legibility of the characters and all that, because it was well done. And I'll look back up and I'll go, "This isn't what I asked for. I asked for the cuttings. I asked for the cuneiform tablets. And what you handed me is secondhand drivel. Now, it's useful secondhand drivel, so I'll pay you. But
I think we could get it.
You what?
I think we could go back and get it.
You think you could go back and get the tablets? Well, if it's that simple, why don't you have them right now, you lumbering oaf?
I'm not lumbering.
She's gonna put a hand on Karmeon's shoulder and give it like a tight squeeze as a sort of sign to just shut up.
Just need horses. I'll say to Pekome and not to.
We needed to resupply. The ruins were extraordinarily dark. Some sort of mystical effect on them.
Ruins? Conan Furia leans in just a little at that. Mystical darkness. Where did you find Aldous' group? Where did you find these tablets?
We found them deep underground, surrounded by undead.
Undead. He looks so fascinated that he seems to forget to be angry at the group of you for the moment. Well, you certainly haven't had time to venture into deep Davokar. Your trip wasn't supposed to be that long or far-reaching, not by half. Now, why would you have run into a group like that on such a short errand? This is very interesting. And he turns away and walks to the far side of the room where a writing desk is set. And he produces a key from his robes and unlocks one of the drawers. And from the drawer, he pulls a pouch. And from the pouch, he starts pulling out thaler. And he counts out roughly half of what's in the pouch as he walks back. And he says, "Look, I offered you 50 thaler to recover the cuneiform tablets and bring them to me, and you failed to do so. Now, this development proves quite interesting, and you did bring a rubbing, so at least my work can proceed in the interim period. And for that, I am grateful. So I will pay you 25 thaler now, and should you recover the genuine artifacts, I will pay you the rest. However, I think it would be prudent for you to sit down and brief a set of adventurers more experienced than your group has proven itself to be, that they might perform a more thorough investigation of these ruins you've described. It might be that the find of a lifetime could be waiting down there for the suitable hands to discover.
Damn. That's some shade.
Pekome is going to release Karmeon's shoulder at this point and stand a little straighter, and she's going to say, we can fully explore the ruins. We simply needed to resupply. We weren't expecting to find, an unexplored ruin amidst the journey. I promise you that we can handle this task ourselves.
And what am I supposed to do when the three of you end up dead and no one knows where these ruins are?
Wish you'd paid us more?
He scowls at that, glaring down from Pekome.
She's going to project as much confidence into her voice as she can, and she's going to say, we will not die on this journey.
Kind of throws his hands up at that and turns and stalks back to the table and says, fine, I won't wrench the information out of it if you aren't looking to make a little money and sell it and save your lives. Go back, and as soon as you find something promising, you come back to me and I'll take a first look before you go to the auction houses. Let me know what you've discovered, and if it's promising, I'll buy it outright.
She tilts her head slightly forward in acknowledgement.
But we'll need at least 2 more horses.
You want me to supply you with horses?
There and back.
Let me get this straight. You refused to tell me where you were going so that I can send a more prepared group. Now you're saying you are not prepared enough to do it on your own right now, but you want me, out of the goodness of my heart, to prepare to offer you things that are most certainly going to die when you die. How does that make any sense at all?
Aldous can't come back. Bomilo can't come back. Aro can't come back. Not without those horses.
We've already gone and come back, proven ourselves.
It's gonna be real tough for you to pay anyone to go out if they know you won't stretch your neck at all for them when they get in trouble.
And isn't it cheaper for you to lend us a couple of horses instead of shilling out for a much more veteran group that still could end up dead?
Fine. Have it your way. And he tears a sheet of parchment from the table where he's been working, and he'll scribble out a missive of sorts before stalking back over to the group, and he thrusts it out towards Pekome and says, give this to the gate guard on your way out of the compound, and you'll get your horses, but you'll be paying for them pound for pound if anything happens to those creatures and you somehow manage to drag yourself back to the hold. Understand?
Pekome nods and puts the sheet inside her satchel.
Okay.
Karmeon gives a very satisfied nod.
And if there isn't anything else, I have far more productive uses for my time than speaking with you.
She turns to leave.
Okay. So you fall back out into the hallway, and the guards who had not bothered to come inside during the conversation kind of pull the door shut in your wake, and one of them says, well, that was relatively painless as far as discussions with Master Furia seem to go.
Hopefully the next one will go as well.
Yeah, well, lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice. Lady, you just, but here's hoping. And they'll kind of gesture to start escorting you back out towards the entrance.
Pegome makes her way out.
Okay. And provided that you do stop by the sort of stable that's on the property, but a little in a standing building off to the side, you will find yourself in possession of 2 new horses provided by a groom who was initially quite suspicious until you read the missive and was then very obliging. They seem to be more work horses than riding horses, but they can serve in a pinch rather.
Don't throw the horses.
Yeah, don't throw the horses.
Yeah, yeet.
And it's probably nearing around noon right now, so the rest of your day is quite open.
Once they're out of earshot of the Orda, Pegome is going to grab Karmeon by the collar and lift him slightly.
Okay.
If you ever perform a subterfuge like that without my knowledge again, you will never be part of this group.
I didn't tell you?
Her grip tightens. You
Okay,
did
yeah,
not.
I didn't tell you. Okay, yeah, that's fair.
And with that, she releases him and continues on her way.
Great.
Karmeon eyes Meira to see how she feels about the situation.
Yeah,
Meira,
someone who's never lied to Pegome or hidden anything.
Meira stares blankly at Karmeon from behind her mask.
Karmeon takes this as approval, as there's less violence from the person he assumes is more capable of violence.
Pikome's literally swathed in armor and carrying like multiple long swords.
Right, yeah, but she seems to have a conscience.
Meira slides up to
see.
Pikome.
So wait, so you're saying that your character thinks Meira doesn't have a conscience?
That is exactly what he was saying, yeah.
She doesn't seem necessarily like she might have a conscience.
Meira slides right up to Pikome to her side. We got paid. She holds out a hand.
She's gonna step slightly away and look at Meira. Every single time I have given you any amount of money, you have spent it on the most frivolous things.
Do not concern yourself with how I spend my thaler. This is
Don't
a
think
job.
I didn't see the spyglass.
It is for our benefit. Listen, Pekome. You hired me and my brother. We have seen and fought things together, but you are still my employer, and I just saw you get paid. I need to feed Bone Crusher so he will grow to be big and fearsome.
Didn't you just pay Revolve to feed him?
Don't worry about Revolt.
This is gonna look over at Karmeon a bit behind him.
You don't have to pay me. You just buy the supplies, Karmeon says. And then
I wasn't going to.
he will start heading off, actually, and be like, I'll meet you back home.
Home.
Did you give him a key?
Maida checks her pockets. Does she still have her key?
Did
Carmeon,
Does she still
would
have her key?
Karmeon steal it?
would
Karmeon
Carmeon
did
take
not
it? Okay.
No, Karmeon is not
Okay.
stealing anything.
Maida produces her key. I still have it.
If he breaks our brand new locks, I'm gonna kill him. She lets out a sigh. And then she's going to pull out 13 Thaler. With your brother gone, your shares become one. And she's gonna give it to Mayra and say, try to make it last more than a day.
Maida manages to not look very excited. She takes it with a stone cold face.
She doesn't release the bag just yet, and she repeats, make it last more than a day.
All right, I shall try my best, Pekome.
I don't believe you. She lets go of the bag.
She immediately, just in the blink of an eye, the bag is gone. You don't know where she's put it.
Just hand to her helmet. Deep sigh. She continues on towards the marketplace.
Maida will follow her.
Okay. Where does Karmeon get off to?
He's getting a fancy new rapier.
He's getting a fancy new rapier. Excellent. Okay.
Gotta get himself a new fencing sword.
That sounds good. I think you probably want to go to I think Marvelous maybe. Let me see right here.
Trade Marvelums, the Rope and Axe, Big Basher's Smithy,
Shopping.
Baraldo's Novelty Store.
Probably don't want a rapier from there. Those are more paperweights.
Novelty store.
If he never lands a hit anyway, might as well
Does
be.
it matter? Good
Hey, that's why he's
question.
getting a rapier, because those are easier to hit with.
Look, you just need something decoration. Get an ornamental rapier.
Okay, so actually, as it happens, you would probably know to head to Big Basher's Smithy,
Yeah.
which is run by the reputed ogre, Big Basher, who, legend has it, simply came walking out of Davokar as they were working on building the Palisade of Thistlehold. He was
Set up then and there.
more or less set up then and there. There was a bit of a tangled tale where initially people thought that he was trying to attack the settlement, but he's quite difficult to be killed, and he ended up being taken in by a blacksmith who has since died, and he runs her smithy now.
Okay. He goes to the Queen Square. And he heads in yelling for Basher.
Okay. Basher is visibly at the back of the shop. He takes up the majority of the back of the shop, in fact, because he's massive. He's pumping a bellows with one hand while holding an enormous broadsword. Clearly a two-handed weapon for someone of considerable stature. In his other hand, as he's turning it this way and that and working on tempering the iron. At the call, he'll kind of glance up and then go, hello.
Basher,
And-
you, I don't know if you remember me, but you made me a rapier, and obviously you can see it's not at my side. But you also made me my dagger and my shield, and I still have those. And if I wanted to be really slow, I'd also wear your armor, but I don't. but I do need another rapier.
Big Basher slowly takes in Karmeon during this description. And he does note the lack of a rapier and the presence of shield and parrying dagger that, he recognizes as his own make. In the corner of the room, there are two goblins that are sitting to kind of observe the conversation. They look like they're employed more so than clients waiting. And after a moment, Big Basher nods slow and he goes, "All right, you want another rapier, one of those toothpickers. When do you need it?"
Tomorrow morning.
He blinks slowly and purses his lips a little bit, which is quite the expressive gesture. And then he shrugs and says, all right, I can have one ready by then, but it will cost more."
In a couple days.
"All right. I can have one ready by then, and it won't cost more."
Sounds great. Just the same as the last one. I'm Karmeon. I'll be back.
I remember.
That's good. You're a good guy. I gotta go? Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, and Karmeon leaves.
Big Basher will turn his attention back to the broadsword that he's working on. That's the end of that.
Okay.
Any other errands, or do you kind of try to join up with the other two? Or go back?
Potentially, we might be meeting up with him.
You might be just kind of happening across each other as you've entered the
Pekome
marketplace.
needs to get some new armor and a new shield.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, then
So
will join up with her.
Okay, yeah, great. So Karmeon essentially steps out of the shop as Pekome is approaching with Meira in tow.
Well, that depends. Meira might have bolted to go spend all her money.
Well, earlier she said she was tracking along with you, but does she bolt?
No, she's hanging out with Pekome.
Okay. Cool.
It's a very one-sided hanging out.
Yes. Literally Mayer's whole life.
Oof. Ouch. Your brother's dead.
Yikes. Alright.
At least I have a dog.
Alright. Pekome is going to be looking to pick up some generic heavy armor and a steel shield.
Okay. Yeah. Now, the offer will be made as Pekome is shopping around that it would normally cost, somewhere in the order of Pekome's armor. Is it heavy armor or is it medium?
Medium. You can only start with medium.
Yeah, I thought so. So yeah, it's medium armor. Excuse me. And that can range, as you know, anywhere from 2 to 25 thaler.
Yeah, and so she's currently looking for around 10 thaler generic heavy armor because she knows how to use armor well enough that it doesn't need to be like masterwork.
That you can use the heavy armor? Okay, great. The offer's made nonetheless. Rather than purchasing a new set of armor, you could, for a modest cost, just a couple thaler, probably have your existing armor patched up into more workable order.
I mean, like replacing the holes, switching out some of the leather with a bit more plate.
Yeah, I mean, it would still be medium if you had it repaired. You'd have to buy new armor if you wanted to upgrade to heavy class.
Yeah, she's looking for heavy with
So
with
she
how
just
much
decides to get heavy. Okay, absolutely.
with how much they've been going through her
She's
guard.
getting hit, yeah, for sure. Okay, great. Yeah, so that contract is in. It will take several days, so you really all of these requests, you can probably pick them up before you head out, but you won't really have them on hand until then.
Mm-hmm.
And payment will be taken upon completion of the job.
And she would also pay a bit extra to get her family's color and crest on it.
Okay.
Including the steel shield.
So that'll go up to 12 thaler for the armor and shields. Where are you, shields?
Like right above the armor. The page 149.
Okay. Yes. Weapons. 3 thaler. So yeah, 4 thaler for the custom shield and 12 thaler for the armor.
Are you sure? The steel shield's 15.
Oh yes. So you're going with a steel shield, not a generic?
Yeah, because then I get balanced in it.
Oh, okay. Yep, that's fine. So 17 thaler for the steel shield and 12 thaler for the armor, generic armor.
I think that puts me down to 11. I had 40.
You had
12.
40 thaler?
Yeah, I had 40.
Did you deduct the amount for the license earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's fine. Go for it.
Pekome really didn't. I was going to say didn't really share, but what I mean is really didn't share.
Mm.
Hey,
Maida
yeah.
does not know this.
Look, Pekome is a noble. She had some spending money beforehand, and she paid all of the costs for them to get a license. I didn't see you guys chipping in.
Wait, you paid all the cost. You went 50-50 with an NPC.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of our group.
Okay,
They
that's
didn't
true.
offer to help at all.
You did start with 50 thaler, and everyone else started with like 2, but
This
See?
is
Yeah.
Maida's job. She doesn't have a choice.
this is an example of a trickle-down economy right here.
So, how are negotiations going?
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
He's got it paid for.
Okay, then at that point, Karmeon's gonna check in on dear old Big Basher and be like, Basher, did you get that rapier finished yet?
This is like an hour later, right?
I mean, this is like 15 minutes later.
Okay, 15 minutes later. Actually, he's still working on the same broadsword. And it looks almost exactly the same because he's been in conversation with Karmeon, and then he was in conversation with Pekome, and now he's in conversation with Karmeon again. But he appears to be a very patient creature. And he looks at Karmeon, and he says, "No."
I was just checking. Can't get nothing past you, man.
No, you can't.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay. And Big Basher will nod agreeably and then go back to working on the broadsword again. Mayra, in the midst of Pekome spending far more money than she gave to you, and Karmeon, dealing with the weapon contracting here, does she get up to anything, or is she just sort of keeping an eye on the others?
She will buy a parrying dagger.
A parrying dagger. Okay.
Yeah, after seeing how well it worked for our friend here.
Yeah. Now there does happen to be a parrying dagger on hand. These smaller items are a little easier to make multiples of without needing to go on a per order basis. So parrying dagger costs 5 thaler.
Okay.
And you can just go ahead and add that to your inventory now and pay for it.
Yes, I now have this.
All right, my sheet is all set up for when we got the armor.
Very good.
I can block 1d10 of damage.
Yeah, that's a tinky.
I'm ready to low roll a 1 and die.
You haven't really done much low rolling this campaign.
Well, someone's got a high roll.
Yeah.
other than Stella in vigilance.
Oh God.
Is there anything else that you'd like to take care of in the market, or anything else on the docket after that?
We definitely need supplies.
Yeah, we need supplies.
Okay.
Torches.
Torches.
Head to the general store and start shopping up on things.
Yeah.
Goods were below armor.
Yeah, 154 is where you'll find the start of a lot of that stuff. I might suggest grabbing some lamp oil, among other things.
Mm, definitely. To start off. Okay, so it's 10 for each, right? 10 Orteg is 1 shilling, 10 shilling is 1 thaler?
I
Or
believe
is
so.
it the other way around?
Yeah, they're metric. Shilling, Orteg,
shilling,
Thaler, I
okay,
Yeah,
believe.
yeah,
Orteg.
Ortega is in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Orteg is in the middle?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Nope.
Orteg.
Because on the
What's
equipment
an
it goes
Orteg?
thaler,
What's a
shilling,
Thaler?
Orteg.
What's a Thaler, Shilling, Orteg?
Oh,
No,
okay.
Orteg
No.
is big.
Ortega's at the bottom.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
dirt cheap then, actually.
I was about to say that's an expensive blanket compared to the bear trap.
We have bear traps?
You could.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, yeah, so Ortega's the cheapest. Go right ahead and buy whatever you want.
Where are torches? All right.
Torches are near the bottom. Well, I mean, it's alphabetical, but they cost an Orteg each.
She's gonna start with 5 torches.
Okay.
Uh, 10 thaler.
Yeah, Karmeon's gonna
9 shilling.
nudge it
5 Orteg.
Pekome a couple times and point out the bear traps and be like, get 2.
She's gonna look at him.
They're not
You-
smart.
You get bear traps. If you want them so badly.
I don't want them that badly.
She's gonna ignore him at this point. 3 canteens of lamp oil.
Okay. So you're 5 torches and three allotments of lamp oil.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We also need more rope because we used pretty much all of our rope.
Mm-hmm.
So you can grab a 50-foot length of rope if you want for 1 shilling, which would bring you to 1 shilling and 8 Ortegs.
I turned a thaler into a shilling and then turned 1 shilling into Orteg. So I'm at 9 shillings, 2 Ortegs.
Okay.
She will get 2 things of rope and give 1 to Mayra.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
So that puts me at 7 shilling.
Are you gonna buy a lantern to go with the oil?
Maybe? You don't know me.
That's what I'm asking.
She's gonna
Oh,
check with Mayra
really?
first. Do you have a lantern?
I have, nope.
No.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Okay. She will pick up a lantern.
Okay. That's 4 Ortegs.
That puts me at 8 Ortegs, 6 shilling.
It's only a shilling. Or a Thaler. You don't have any Thaler left.
What's only a thaler?
2 bear traps.
2 bear traps.
She's gonna slowly turn her head towards him. I thought you said you didn't want the bear traps.
I said I didn't want them that badly?
Are you broke?
You didn't pay me.
You don't work for me.
I did the job.
You'd be dead without us.
You'd be dead without me.
I'd still be walking.
Meira buys 2 bear traps.
But do you do it where we see? Or are these more secret bear traps?
Oh, you see it.
Thank you.
Right. I think that's about all Pekome wants from here.
Okay.
And then she's probably gonna go pick up a bit more medicine before they go.
Mm-hmm. So do you head to the drugstore?
Yes.
Alrighty.
And she's just gonna pick up 3 herbal cure.
3 herbal cures.
And then give them to our quote-unquote doctor.
Okay. Herbal cures are a thaler each. Okay, just making sure.
I need to spend 3 Orteg.
Give it to Meira.
Not in an alchemist's, you don't, because they don't sell anything that cheap.
The hell's $1? What's an Otker? An Ortker?
Alrighty. So Karmeon now has 3 more herbal cures.
Yeah.
Anyone else trying to pick up anything else?
Nope.
No.
Alright. Good. Any other errands? Are you gonna go to the tavern, go home?
There
Sit out
is
this very moment.
at least one more thing we need to get is feed for the horses, and she probably wants to go buy food for her dog.
Mm-hmm.
So look for a place to get animal supplies.
Yeah, there are a couple places. I mean, there are more stands than places out in the market area.
Mm-hmm.
A majority of the plaza is taken up by hawkers who are supposedly selling relics of ancient Symbar that have been brought back from treasure hunters like yourself. But there are more mundane areas. I mean, one of them is where, Meira found Bone Crusher. And there are some others with, pack feed and travel food. So you could definitely do that.
Right. Well, Pekome is gonna negotiate to buy some pack feed for the horses and get some food for the dog.
Meira takes this as a sign of acceptance of Bone Crusher.
She's totally not gonna poison it.
Wow.
I said she's not gonna poison it.
What?
You probably find that it will cost somewhere in the order of 4 shillings to secure a trip's worth of pack feed for 3 horses, along with some extra food stuff tossed in for Bone Crusher over the duration.
She's gonna look at Meira, mutter something she can't hear, and then pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Maybe I hear it.
You hear just a bunch of gibberish.
Ah, okay.
Just like when you mutter under your breath things that aren't really words.
Mm-hmm.
We all do it.
And that's it for our shopping for today, unless anyone's gonna go buy something stupid.
Nope.
Like some more bear traps.
Okay, great.
God,
So do you head home?
Yeah, this is how Meira gets herself caught in a bear trap.
By buying them and putting them places?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why don't you folks give me a vigilant roll on your way home from the market?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
bad.
Wow.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Holy crap.
Well done.
Two of them being exactly on the money.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a near thing, but all three of you take
We're on
note
edge after being basically kidnapped.
as you're, making your way back from the Queen's Square along Lassiford Road. There is a somewhat shabby fellow following you about half a block away. And he's trying to be furtive, but it's sort of that attempt that only draws the eye. He looks like he's maybe 30 or so years. His demeanor is not especially well kept, but he's sneaking along in your wake and sort of trying to gauge what it is you're getting up to and where you're going.
As they're walking by, like heading towards their house, is there
Mhm.
is there still a decent crowd out?
In the Antique Plaza, yeah.
All right, Pekome's gonna just drop 2 shilling and 8 Orteg onto the ground to try and get a crowd behind them.
Okay. So as you're crossing the Antique Plaza, you drop some coin on the ground
Mm-hmm.
to attract attention.
Well, yeah, she wants to block off the
She
person
wants-
chasing them.
To block,
Or following
yeah,
them.
that's fine. Sure. So that works.
I mean,
Pekome.
are
Were you
we-
gonna say something, Kory?
Yeah, I mean, you should make people aware of this sort of plan.
Yeah.
Because I mean, otherwise, Karmeon and Mira might just be like, "Ah, coin."
Man, I would totally pick it up if you didn't
well, we all saw the person, and I would assume we would acknowledge it to each
Yeah,
other.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Just we're all. This is the plan. At least it's been keep moving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, we're all on the same page. Okay.
Okay. So Pekome, with a little sleight of gauntleted hand, takes some coins from her coin pouch and spills them on the ground behind her. And it does, take notice. Folks hear the coins drop, and at first no one really moves for them because Pekome looks very scary to most of the people around. By and large, you have a little bit of a wide berth when you're walking. But when it becomes clear that either she doesn't know or she doesn't care about the coin in her wake, several different people dart forward and sort of cluster together in a quick jostle to try to gather up the scattering of coins. I mean, a couple of shilling and Orteg are more than the poorest of the people in Thistlehold can expect to make for quite a while. So there's some vying here or there, and let's see. Let me pull up a little stat page here.
Uh-oh.
Scroll bar. Thank you.
Mira is very sad inside.
You have lost that coin.
Yes.
She took a hit of toughness for every coin I dropped.
Oof.
It's okay. It was only 10 coins. You could handle that.
Oh.
That's an
That's baby
excellent
Jacob.
timing right there.
Oh, that's so cute.
He's
Man,
whiny. He doesn't want to be held. He
Man,
wants to be
Mira.
fed.
Was that your changeling roar?
Yes.
Okay. So
Oh, Jacob, gross. Sorry.
it's okay.
You better be.
In the jostle of people, it kind of works both ways. You lose track of the person that was following you. Go ahead and roll vigilance at an enemy disadvantage of -5 to see if you can spot this person again.
Oh, Karmeon.
Wow.
Okay. What's this person doing that nobody else notices?
Well, as it happens, the man sort of has to pause in the churn of people between you and him, but he works his way up where people are jostling for the coins and kind of begins to slip his way through the group. It does set him back quite a ways,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as stealth goes on your part, you're with a very tall changeling completely covered in armor, so it doesn't
Yeah.
really, it's not too difficult
Yeah.
for him to keep a general eye of where your group is going. At one point, he gives up on following, but he's continuing to observe you
Yeah.
as you depart.
Okay. So he stops following at least. Just stays
Yeah,
in the...
and it's just tracking,
Okay.
and he's kind of in the middle of people.
All right. Karmeon will kind of point him out and then just continue
Wildly
following
gesture
along.
at him.
How
Uh,
how overtly do you indicate him?
He'll probably actually point him out using words.
Okay, great.
I'll be right back.
Also,
But
okay.
go on.
What do Pekome and Meira do with this information?
Meira defers to Pekome's judgment.
Mm-hmm.
You still have your key, right?
Yes.
You should take Karmeon and get back to the house, and I'll take the long way around.
But if you get cornered into an alleyway, you might not be able to fight.
She laughs at that. I can fight anywhere.
Well, if you die, I'm taking your room in the house. And she'll turn and leave, grabbing Karmeon and hauling him away.
And
All
then
right.
Pekome is gonna head in like the opposite direction. Just take the long way back to their house.
Okay. Well, so you're standing in the Antique Plaza right now, and your house is basically on the Antique Plaza.
Yeah.
So do you like keep going past, or do you head south? Whereabouts would you like to go?
She's gonna turn and head along like Lassiter's Road, and then cut
Okay.
through some of the alleys.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So Pekome heads off to Lassiter's Road as her companions split off northward to actually get home for real. And about halfway between the plaza and the intersection up ahead, Thistle Street, there are a few narrower residential alleyways that she can turn into. Is she just going to kind of loop around and then eventually try to double back to the house and get in through there?
Yeah.
Great. Sounds good. It takes, maybe an extra 7 to 10 minutes, but eventually Pekome does make her way back and can slip inside. She has kind of lost track of the person. I mean, you had quite a bit of a lead because he had stopped following in the middle of people, and it's pretty feasible that you just lost him altogether, but you make it back.
Mission potentially success.
Mission potentially success.
She's gonna go in the house and lock the door behind her.
Okay, sounds good.
Did Meira make it safely, or did she die along the way?
Meira and Karmeon appear to have made it back.
I didn't ask about Karmeon.
None the worse for wear.
Alright, that's good.
We're good.
Did either of you recognize him?
No. Maybe?
She looks at Karmeon.
I don't think so.
No one recognizes him.
I do not recognize him.
He didn't look like he was one of the guards that grabbed us earlier. Just how many people are following us in this city?
You are too paranoid. Why couldn't we just stop and talk to him?
Because if he wanted to talk to us, he would have tried to get our attention.
Perhaps it is something that must not be heard by other ears.
We should maybe see about leaving soon. Karmeon says, if the orders, it could be the order.
Either way, we need to wait for our gear to finish first. Unless you want to go back down into the ruins without a weapon.
I've got a weapon.
She looks like she does a big gesture of like looking over him and then just says, "Where?"
It's a dagger.
It's not a weapon.
This is a weapon.
She says that while pulling out the big two-handed sword.
Well,
That's how we get arrested.
Yeah.
We're in our house.
Yeah, no, you're in your house, but the sword does start keening hungrily.
And then she puts it back away.
Meira hisses like a cat.
Does it always do that?
Keens muffledly from inside the scabbard.
Does it always do what?
It is a witch blade.
Karmeon nods at Meira.
Pekome can't hear the keening.
Oh dear.
She has no clue it makes all that noise.
That could be bad.
Everything about that could be bad.
Meira picks up Bone Crusher, goes into her room and slams the door and locks it.
Don't slam those doors. I don't want to pay to have them fixed.
Pekome has become the dad of the group.
Daddy Mama to the rescue.
So, one of the things about artifacts is that you bond to them at a certain cost.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of just mostly, you're like, I do that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you gonna?
Entirely no reason to have been asking that.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you gonna bond with your eye drops?
Maybe. They're just eye drops. How evil could they be?
Put them in your eyes.
Well, no,
Yes.
we bond with it and figure out exactly what they do at the cost of
Corruption?
blank.
Corruption. Yes, is the
Yes,
cost.
corruption.
Is it always?
Well, it can vary from artifact to artifact, but all the artifacts that we'll be dealing with will incur a cost of corruption. when
Okay.
we with them. With the exception of there are certain things that are kind of like holy relics from the Order of Prios, for example.
But
that
you
are
probably
all about burning
Did
the
you-
corruption away or something like that.
you probably
get-
won't find those underground in unexplored ruins from the
A time before Prius was worshipped.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Do you get the temporary as well as the permanent? Or was it just the permanent? Corruption.
So just to bond with it, you get a point of permanent corruption, just a single point. The temporary corruption comes from using it.
Okay. Alright, Pekome is going to lock herself in a room. And because she has completely terrible judgment when it comes to this stuff, she's going to put on the necklace.
Great. Okay, so she puts on the necklace. Fantastic. Does she put it on over her armor? Is she taking her helmet off? Describe this for me.
Basically, she took her armor off to like clean it off, and then decided to try on the necklace.
Freaking nobles, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Kevin's happy about this.
As Pekome slides the necklace on, I mean, these ancient lizard bones sort of rattle just a little bit. Naturally, from being moved around, there isn't anything that you can tell that's inherently magical about the way that they move.
Mhm.
And then the necklace clasps into place. And as far as you can tell, nothing happens.
Clasps into place.
All right.
Yeah, so now you're wearing that cool necklace. Are you gonna keep wearing it, like, for the foreseeable future? Just let me know if you take it off.
Yeah, she figured that this was a better way to hide it, under all of her armor,
Yeah,
keeping
great.
it in an easily lootable pouch.
Uh-huh. Okay, I like it. Cool.
Stella's just having a panic attack.
Maida, sitting down at a table, slides a parchment across. This is my resume. And then the person looks down at the resume. It says here that your previous employer was an abomination. I don't want to talk about it.
It says here
they
you
put
were
on
one.
everything they found in Davokar.
It says here you were one step away from being an abomination too.
Oh, wait, let me find the eraser. You're not supposed to see that. Oh, man.
So does Karmeon just kind of, in the spirit of things, tip back one of the eyedroppers?
No. Oh.
No? Okay.
Okay, he's sitting at the table. The
Mhm.
table. There's only one. Ever.
Yeah, there is only one, you're right.
There's only one table ever, and he's sitting at it.
Yeah.
And on the table is the puzzle box, and he's kind of sitting back, leaning, the chair's on two legs. And he's just sitting back and he's looking at it, and sometimes he'll sit the chair forward, and he clearly he's examining the puzzle box with a deep level of interest, but he does nothing good.
Okay. And Mayra, any shenanigans?
I pet my puppy and I love him so much.
Okay, fantastic. Bone Crusher revels in the attention.
Do you bond with him?
You are a very, very good boy. I bond with the dark magic that is Bone Crusher.
Okay, you now have an artifact dog.
Heck yeah.
Great. So this is, I think, pretty good as a stopping point. You guys will more or less just take a couple more days to recuperate.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to, then head out and try to return to those ruins, which ought to be a fantastic spot to start our next session. So, any closing notes, things you want to do in Thistlehold while you have, civilization kind of at your fingertips?
How many times does Karmeon go back to see if his rapier's ready?
Oh dear.
Well, you see, he heard from a goblin that if you immediately go back in and ask him, old Basher, if it's ready, half the time he's like, oh yeah, and he just gives you one that was there already. And he tries that every time, but it never works.
One day it will.
Karmeon tries it, or the goblin?
Karmeon.
Okay,
Maida might go visit Rayvold a few times.
Just
During the day or during the night?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Okay, great. Well, we can handle a few things off screen before the next session, but I think this is pretty much it. Upkeep and maintenance after a successful journey from Davokar.
Quote unquote.
Successful, yeah, successful in quotes for sure.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Obdurant, for DMing for us. Another awesome session. My friend Vertigo Cross here is
Hi.
a streamer. Tell us
am?
who you are, what you do, what you're all about. Your link's in the chat.
Hello, my name is Vertigo. I play video games and I hang out with Stella for D&D and video game shenanigans. We have a show we do on Mondays, and on Friday, I'm going to be trying to do a 12-hour stream of the new Pokemon game when it comes out.
Yes. So please, please, please go check out Vertigo Cross. I will be there and we can make fun of my friend together.
Thanks.
That's friendship, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
friendship is being allowed to insult each other.
Exactly.
So
And
why aren't you mentioning my streaming?
I was about to say before I was rudely interrupted, Kory, do you have any thoughts? Anything you want to share to our lovely chat here?
My real name is Zachary Scootery, and I stream over at C9 Sneaky, where I cross-dress / cosplay, and obviously work for the C9 organization as a multi-millionaire League of Legends player.
You didn't tell them your last name.
Twitch.tv / C9 Sneaky.
You didn't tell them your last
okay.
name.
I did.
Zachary Scootery Charcuterie.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you'd like to close out with, Obdurant?
No.
How could he top that?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, friends, thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you're new to the community, please consider giving us a follow, especially if we made you laugh or you had a good time here. That way you get notifications for when we go live. We will be continuing our Symbaroum game next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see you there. Otherwise, we will see you perhaps Saturday. Saturday we have a Golf with Your Friends championship. Did you ever have the burning desire to be given the title Master Stroker? Well, here's your chance.
Stella, I'm filled with a burning desire.
Good. Come play golf. Earn that title. You get bragging rights. Come. And you can find all information in our Discord. We have a very active community there. The link is also there in the chat. You can hang out with us when we're not live, play video games with us. And that's about it. Thank you so much. Have a great night, everyone. And we're going to go raid my friend, Jade Princess. She is currently playing Mistover. So we're going to carry on the spooky vibe, I suppose. Have a good night, everyone. Bye!